This video is for people learning to solve equations in algebra. Arguably, it's the most important skill taught in algebra. Other math classes and classes in many other fields will make use of this skill all the time. The goal is to be able to solve multi-step problems like this one. The technique is based on opposite operations. The opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So let's start with a couple of simpler problems first. In a problem like this one, we have a variable plus 4 equals 7. Our goal would be to get the variable by itself on one side of the equation and the solution to the problem on the other. The only thing that's happening to that variable is a 4 is being added to it. And then the way that we solve a problem like this is we perform the opposite operation to what's happening to the variable. In this case, the opposite of adding 4 would be subtracting 4. And that's the hardest part, is to decide what to do for each step in the problem. So if we've decided that we need to subtract 4 to get the letter by itself, then we would have to do that to both sides of the equal sign. The work could look like this. We would say minus 4 on the left side of the equal sign, and we would say, therefore, minus 4 on the right side of the equal sign. When you do that, on the left side, the plus 4 and the minus 4 will cancel and only leave the x. And on the other side, the 7 minus 4 will work out as an answer. And we get something that looks like this, x equals 3. Later on, I'm going to do that tougher problem that I showed first, and I'll demonstrate how to check to see if that answer to a problem like this is correct. If we look at a slightly different problem, this one says 4 times the variable is equal to 12. So in an algebra class, when a number is next to a letter, that always means multiply. So they think that we know that. They're not going to help us by giving us a symbol, usually, that tells us that there's multiplying happening. But as I was saying earlier, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So in this case, to get that x by itself, and right now it's being times by 4, multiplied by 4, the opposite of multiplying by 4 would be dividing by 4. And that's the hardest part of this problem. If we know that we're going to divide by 4 on the left side, then we'll have to divide by 4 on both sides. So that work might look like this. We show division by 4. What happens on the left side is that 4 divided by 4 makes 1, and the 1 is left stuck to the x. And you could write 1x as the answer, but you will see that the textbooks and the teachers are going to just write x instead of 1x. And the other side, we just have to work out the result to 12 divided by 4. And that could look like this. This answer also was x equals 3. And that could be checked. So using these two examples that I've shown, I'm going to show what it would look like to work out that first problem that I had on the slide at the beginning. 2x plus 7 is equal to 13. The difficulty here is there's two things happening to the x. The x is being multiplied by 2, but it's also having 7 added to it. So maybe the harder part of this problem is deciding whether to handle the 7 first or to handle the 2 first. What I tell people about that is it would be sort of like trying to get the seeds out of a fruit, like an apple or an orange or a watermelon. You have to take the outside layers off first to get to the inside. In this case, the 7 is farther away from the x than the 2. So I would be thinking that we need to undo the addition of 7 first and then undo the multiplying by 2. So to show my work, I could write down 2x plus 7 is equal to 13. And since I was saying that the 7 is farther away from the x than the 2, I would want to undo the addition of 7, so I will subtract 7 on both sides. So the result of that is the addition of 7 and the subtraction of 7 cancel out, and we have 2x on the left side is equal to 6. This looks a lot like one of the other problems we did. Here x is being multiplied by 2, and the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. Once we decide to do that, we do that on both sides. So we divide 2, we divide 2. These 2's will cancel out into 1's, but when you have 1x, we can just write x. And 6 divided by 2 works out to be 3. So we have yet another problem where the solution seems to be 3. Alright, well the question is, how can you check a thing like that? 2x plus 7 is equal to 13. If I think that x is equal to 3, then I would want to plug in the 3 where the x was and see if it makes a true statement for the equation. We would get 2 multiplied by 3 plus 7 is equal to 13. So what I'll do is put a question mark over the equal sign to say, is that actually true? Now we have multiply and we have addition. According to the order of operations, you multiply from left to right before you add from left to right. So we would do the multiplication first. And we would get 6 for this, and then I will copy all of the rest. All that's left on the left side now is 6 plus 7, so we can work that out. And we get 13 equals 13, question mark. That is true. And that means that our solution of x equals 3 was the right answer, after all. So we would say that is what we wanted to find. I hope you found that helpful. If you'd like to thank me by making a donation to my PayPal account, I've provided a link below the video in the description. If you're interested in hiring me for an appointment, or visiting my live stream where you can get help with a single problem at a time instead of hiring me for an entire hour at a time, my Twitch page is located at the link provided in the description below the video, as well as my Facebook page. Information about prices, including the amount that I charge per hour and group rates, and also the amount that I charge per problem and the live streams, is provided at those locations. To actually schedule an appointment, you can contact me directly by email. And I thank you for watching the video.